No verbals over the weekend, I don't think. It was a big recruiting weekend.
Oh, that's correct. No verbals.
No verbals. You get to talk about it tonight on the Smash. You guys can have at it. Tell everybody. No fear. Actually, sounds like it was a good weekend. Sounds like it was a good weekend. By the way, we are, well, I like doing it this way. It's manipulative, admittedly, but I like doing it this way. Tomorrow marks 59 days, sir.
Woo!
Until the start of college football. Tomorrow does. We're 69 days away from Florida State football.
Nice.
The obligatory. By the way, you do the research on that number. You know, it's usually pretty easy for people. The first number I thought of, and I'm not as good at numbers, like a lot of fans, diehard, know everybody's number. I'm not always that way. The guy I thought of was Pat McNeil. And I double-checked it before the show because I was pretty sure he was, and I was right. He was. From 90 to 94, he was number 69. There haven't been that many great players to wear number 69. Mike Good played 76 through 79, was an All-American honorable mention, and but I don't remember him, obviously, and I didn't really see. I guess I did see him play when I was 8, but don't really remember it. So, not slim pickings when it comes to the number 69, and trying to celebrate who's next on that countdown.
That's okay, though, because soon enough we'll be down into the 40s where we can talk about tight ends and H-backs.
Well, there's some, there have been some good names in the 60s as we count this down and you go back and look, but not this particular number. I know this as far as the weekend that was, the report, Michael Langston, others saying that it was a good weekend for Florida State. And you had a lot of commits that were already, you weren't really worried about. Then there are the guys that the uncommitted prospects that you're like, all right, how we doing with Jonathan Daniels? You know me, I'm looking straight at the offensive and defensive line, defensive end, defensive tackle, offensive line. All right, that's fine. You're going to get a wide receiver in all likelihood. Yeah. You're going to get D.D. Holmes. You're going to get Jonathan Daniels. These are the guys that I'm looking at where I'm saying, all right, positions of need, guys that have, elite size and project great. Danzy, fine. He's running back. I'm not worried about running back. We got 1 million running backs. For what it's worth, sounds like we're going to get Danzy. Great. We have a lot of running backs. We're good at running back. We're really good at running back. Let's direct some money and attention towards defensive end, offensive line, and linebacker. Let's go there. But the folks that were here, I think for the most part, everything went well. It sounds like, Tom, maybe you're more in tune on this. I haven't talked to everybody about these guys and each one of these guys, and Elijah Moore, the receiver, and all that. I'm just kind of curious. Sounds like for Florida State, this is just to inform for people who are kind of on edge about this. Sounds like the vast majority of the verbals that they're going to get don't happen until July, and in some cases maybe late July. But like that first week in July, when you're on vacation, I think it's when it's all going down. Yeah, yes. I think that's when it's all going down.
That's okay, though.
Sounds like it to me.
There's at least one announcement on July 4th that we already know of.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Sometimes the universities like to do holiday things, which I think is dumb.
Yeah, nobody's paying attention.
Because nobody pays attention.
No.
I would rather them do it right now. How about 1:15 p.m. on a Monday? That would garner much more attention than, say, July 4th at noon when people are either at the beach or cooking out or in the pool or whatever, not caring about recruiting. But, yeah, it sounds like July is going to be the target for some of these kids. Again, this isn't firsthand. I'm not out there on the ground like Michael was or Matt Lasser or Ira Schofel yesterday because we're 15 OVs strong here at Florida State over the weekend. But then also Charles Lester, a big-time defensive player, defensive back.
That's late July.
The 27th,
yeah,
I want to say it is.
I think they're going to get him, man. I don't think that's really in peril from what I'm hearing. That's going to be a get.
But sometimes the kids can't help themselves. And I say this to the kids. Yes, you're correct to not be able to help yourself. Go ahead. Tell the world that you are committed to Florida State and do so sooner. Because if you want people to stop worrying amongst the Florida State fan base, your future fan base, that would help. And then also it would garner more attention than if you did something, next week. A lot. This is in addition to MLB All-Star Week. This upcoming week is the one where everybody's gone.
You have to.
You want real.
You've got to get your mind right, and that's the time to get your mind right when nothing's happening.
You want to make a splash? Don't do it when other people are splashing in the ocean or the pool. And that would be this week.
I thought it was cool. Aslan did a great job going up there to cover Jordan Travis's trip to the Manning camp. I mean, look, everybody's well aware of what time of year it is, but Jordan Travis's ascent into the worlds of elite quarterbacks is really quite remarkable. And every now and again, in moments like this one, I'm reminded of just how far he's come and how long this journey has been for him. So good job to our own Aslan, who drove up there to the Manning camp and got a one-on-one with Jordan. And I thought, Jordan never gives a lot in interviews, man. He just doesn't. I think he's a boring interview. That doesn't bother me. This is not a personal criticism of Jordan Travis. He's just pretty much going to tell you the things that he knows that he's supposed to say. And that's fine. A lot of quarterbacks, by the way, are that way. A lot of quarterbacks. Tom Brady's not interesting when you listen to him be interviewed. When he's interviewed, you're like, okay, here we go. Trust the process. That's what you're going to get.
And
so Peyton Manning wasn't interesting, and he wasn't interested in being interviewed. A lot of these guys are about that business, which is fine. You're the leader. You got to put in the time. You got to put in the work. You got to be with them. You got to do all those things in preparation. I don't need you to be great in interviews. But the point would be him. There were a couple of moments there where he was talking. First of all, I'm glad that he said it. It's affirmation of what should be. But he talked about this is the most confident that he's ever been. Well, I would think. You've played football here for 20 years. I'd like to think. And after the season he just had and the weapons he has around him, there's no doubt Jordan Travis ought to be, in terms of confidence. We bring up that word a lot, man. That is really important to all athletes, really any walk of life. If you're trying to be great at something, it certainly helps to have an awful lot of confidence, and it can't be false bravado. It has to be because of the work. And one of the things I think we know as Florida State fans, if you're rooting for Florida State, one of the things that you love is that Jordan Travis is a workaholic. Like, he has put in the time. He puts in the time. He cares deeply about this. And so his reward is that he's gone from being sort of an also-ran and not somebody you ever thought would be a quarterback or a starting quarterback here, let alone a really good one, to a guy that is now going to a Manning camp and is a Heisman candidate. That is a remarkable run. When Alex Hornibrook is in front of you, and when you go, like as I said, and go out and get a one-footed quarterback to come in here, obviously there were lots of guys that he, had to watch get opportunities. And I'm sure in those moments he wondered whether it was ever going to work out for him. And now here he is as the man at Florida State, confident. He's as confident as he's ever been, with a bevy of weapons to choose from and an offensive line that is the best that's been assembled here, arguably this century.
Well, and he's motivated as hell. That's the thing. Sometimes when a guy is boring in an interview or not a fiery leader on the field itself, and Jordan isn't, he'll chirp back and forth with the defense, but he's not exactly somebody who's going to rah-rah, and he makes sure that the camera is there for the pregame speech that he's firing everybody up with. That's just not his style. You might say, does this kid love the game? He loves the hell out of football.
Oh, yeah. One. And he likes to prepare for it.
And number two, he and his family took notes whenever there was not a believer. He's got that, he's got that
chip.
thing.
Yeah, there's a chip. Yeah.
But his brother Devin, who I covered on the ground when he was here at Florida State, that was my beat reporting days.
Fun guy to talk to, too. Devin was great. Yeah.
An extremely protective brother. Yeah. That dude will fire off on Twitter at a moment's notice if he perceives a slight about Jordan.
He needs to slow his roll and all that.
Now, so a lot of it was real for years. A lot of it was real.
Yeah.
But Jordan even said in the interview with Aslan that, my dad came up here. It was great to bring him with me. He remembers when I got booed in the stands.
He brings that up a lot, too, the Notre Dame game.
So what does that mean? When these three guys are in a group text or in a car driving somewhere, they're talking about how Jordan has been doubted. And that is the fire that allows him to be the competitor that he is.
Well, it works out well, Tom, because he's doubted now in the NFL. There aren't too many teams lining up to draft Jordan Travis. Let's just say it. And you know what? I get it. He's undersized. He's had an injury history here. Listen, he gets through this year without any injury. You're going to, that's not really something you'll be able to knock him for anymore. But you do worry about it when he goes to the league. Now, there are quarterbacks now that are very much dual threat quarterbacks that can dominate in that league in a way that they never used to. So the landscape has changed in a way that allows him to certainly be a viable prospect in the league. Several years ago, he might not have even gotten drafted, despite how dynamic he was on the football field in college. Now he certainly will. There's no doubt he will. And he continues to improve himself as a passer, a pocket passer. And so that will go a long way because everybody can see that he can run. Everybody knows that he's able to make you miss. Everybody knows that he's fast, elusive. He's all those things. He runs with great vision. But again, every step forward he takes as a passer from the pocket, reading defenses, going through option 1, 2, and 3, all of those moments this upcoming year will lead to him getting drafted that much higher than we ever thought possible. So the chip on the shoulder thing works for him for a lot of reasons. The past is real, what you're talking about, but then also because I'm sure he reads those write-ups on the quarterbacks that are, the 10 quarterbacks being talked about at the end of this year that are going into the NFL draft. Well, Jordan's not going to be one of the first 4 or 5 talked about until we start seeing those magnificent plays again on Saturday. I mean, because you're gonna start watching that. If he balls out against LSU on a national stage again and goes nuts in that game, and they win in large part because of him, you can start the hype machine that will help him greatly. And I do like that. I don't think he clamors for that. I think he's just it's the work that he's putting in that leads to that.
Well, I mean, it's got to be something that allows you to go from a platoon player to a Heisman favorite. He's one of the favorites. He's top 3 in terms of future odds to win the Heisman Trophy. So you don't get from A to B without an intense passion within. And it's just amazing to think that, it'll mark 2 years in just under a month. But 2 years ago, he told us at the ACC kickoff in Charlotte when he was watching Mackenzie Milton have 6 dudes to his 1 at their respective tables that he was going to give up the game. He believed what people were saying, that he wasn't good enough or that he would have to change positions or whatever. And it's gone from there to here exponentially so. And it's not just his ability as a runner that has put him in his position. It is the growth as a passer, but then the things that they've always remarked about the coaching staff before we could really see it on the field, the run checks, the understanding of what a defense is trying to do to him.
His familiarity with the offense.
His knowing, where do I go with the ball if this happens? Like, he clearly has the command between the ears. It's a different type of command than Jameis had. Jameis was prototypical old school, he's not a pocket passer per se, because Jameis was more athletic than his bulky build would suggest. But Jameis' mind processed like a standard professional quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, that definition has changed. And Jordan absolutely fits the new definition, and he's smart enough to handle it.
Yeah. And I like that, when he does have a chance to talk, I don't care that it's, in my opinion, somewhat boring. When he talks about winning the play in front of you, win the game in front of you, the accolades are nice. It's cool to hear people say nice things about you, but it's about winning this next moment. And that will lead to the greater success that you're all striving for, which for this team, from the head coach on down, they've kind of alluded to the fact that they were not going to shirk the responsibilities and ignore the expectations. They understand that this is a team that should win the ACC. They should win the conference, and they should have an opportunity to maybe be one of the teams certainly talked about as a college football playoff team. I think they accept that and like that and are willing to, deal with what comes with that, which is hyper focus and attention and criticism and all the other stuff.
Well, it's another part of the interview. You can find the whole one-on-one on Warchant TV, but this is another part that stood out to me because I remember for bowl practice last year, Mike Norvell said in a post-practice, it was here in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
They weren't doing the prep on site. He said the word championship. He said championship expectations, I believe, precisely. And that's one of the Q&As here in that one-on-one with Aslan was he's saying that to the players. He's never done that before.
Yeah.
They had goals for an ACC championship perhaps last season, but Mike Norvell has not spoken it out loud as aggressively as he has this offseason. It's the first time it's happened, so it caught the attention of the locker room. It caught the attention of the quarterback. Mike Norvell chooses his words carefully.
He told us that.
But it's all gas now. It's all gas now.
Well, I mean, when you get to a place, Florida State is the kind of place. This is why people, whenever we have conversations about what ought to be and what Florida State is and where they're going and where they still need to improve and all that other stuff, like, again, you're not a victim of your success. The expectations in Tallahassee and at Florida State, at a place like Florida State, for all coaches, is that you come here to coach to win a national championship. And so in Mike's eyes, I'm sure when he got the opportunity and when they first contacted him about interviewing for this job, It wasn't about, winning 8 games. It was about winning the national championship and having this opportunity to coach at a legendary place like Florida State, a place that when you're operating at peak efficiency means you can win national championships, not conference championships, national championships. That's been the goal from day one, has to be. And now they have their first sniff of what it feels like to be good again, what it feels like to have real expectations. I don't know that certainly Florida State's not the odds-on favorite to win the national championship. But, when you see a team like TCU make the college football playoff last year and make it to the final game, now, granted, they got beat 190-0. But that said, they were in it. They got there. They won a playoff game. As flukish as that may have seemed, when a team like that makes the college football playoff, from a conference like the Big 12, right? So you're saying it's not a great conference. Well, neither is the ACC. Couple good teams in the Big 12, couple good teams in the ACC. That's it. You kind of look at those parallels and say, yeah, that could be us. We can get there. I'd like not to get beat 1,000-0, but I mean, yeah, like it's a reasonable expectation with what they've been able to bring in offensively the whole season. And I'm going to repeat this over and over and over again. The whole season is based on what the defense does. Now, any of us could throw out the idea that the season hinges upon Jordan Travis's health. Well, every team that has some sort of championship level aspiration, you could probably say that about. If they lose their starting quarterback, they're screwed. Well, yeah, man. That's the problem when you lose your starting quarterback. Ain't too many teams that are going to withstand that. There have been a few. There are some in history, recent history even. That Ohio State team apparently could win it with their third-string quarterback. But my point is, it's pretty rare. And you're right. If he gets hurt, we're not winning much, I don't think. We'll win plenty of regular season games. We're just not winning a championship of any kind if we don't have Jordan Travis. But the whole season is on the defense. It's whether or not you're good enough and deep enough off the edge. You have 2 good starters, one really good starter, and another one who's a rising star, but you don't have a ton behind it. You don't have plus players at linebacker. You've got average players there. I think Deloach could end up being a plus player, so let's hope that happens. And then the secondary, you're pretty average there. I do happen to think Shaheem Brown's going to have a good season. I think he's going to have a real good season. I think he's a real talent. I don't think he was healthy in the spring, and I think when he's healthy in the fall, you're gonna have faith in him. But this whole season really comes down to whether or not you can get stops against good offenses. I mean, you're not going to get a ton of stops. The game's not designed that way anymore. The rules aren't designed that way anymore. Everybody scores a lot of points, even on the best defenses, if they have a good offense. I mean, that Georgia-Ohio State game is evidence of that, right? Georgia's loaded and couldn't get a stop to save their life.
Probably should have lost the football game.
They should have lost the football game.
Yeah.
So this is my point. You're going to face some offenses where they're going to score. When I say play good defense, I'm talking about holding people to 24 or less in the games against good offenses. And if you do that, you're going to win probably all your games. Florida State's offense is good enough that they'll score more than 24 points against virtually everybody they play.
Yeah, you're allowed to be optimistic too, because what if Cypress is the player that Pro Football Focus says he is? What if Shaheem Brown is healthy for all 12 games? We know Greedy Vance is going to be solid. We know Renardo Green is going to be solid, if not both of them being outright good. So if you tell me that 2 other members of the secondary are good, that changes the conversation a little bit. Because now you can cover. Now you can mix up what you want to do. Shaheem Brown around the line of scrimmage. You can bring him on blitzes, whatever, to augment different looks. And Adam Fuller's talked about getting more aggressive on the ball. Well, you could force the action a little bit more. Maybe we don't have blitzes that take 7 seconds to get home.
And that are dead giveaway prior to the snap. Yeah.
If we're looking for a candidate to execute that, I would say Shaheem Brown would be your top candidate to be able to execute pressures. But if you have 4 players in the secondary, that's before I talk about Akeem Dent or an Azarie Thomas development or any other player. If you have 4 players that are good in the secondary, you feel better about your chances to get to that level of that threshold of 24 points per game.
Without question, because your defensive line is good this year. It's not riddled with injury. It's not thin. It's deep. It's talented. Knock on wood, they stay healthy. That's always hard in the trenches. But it's really good. And so you're going to stop the run. You're going to go into games with the ability to make somebody one-dimensional. And that's where forced turnovers happen. That's when teams are behind the chains and you bring the house or you have opportunities to jump routes, those kinds of things. You take some chances. They didn't have that a year ago. Offenses with a pulse last year, like a really good offense to a plus offense, could actually run the ball on us. And when that happened, you're in trouble. And I think we can take that away. Now, here's the good news, everybody, as we go to break. Is Florida State physical enough on defense is the question I'm asking, right? When I talk about playing good defense, that's kind of what you're asking. Are you physical enough to make somebody one-dimensional, to shut down the running game, to, enforce what it is you want to do, your principles? Are you good enough, deep enough, physical enough to do that? Well, LSU will tell us, because their offensive line's really good and they're going to run the ball. So here you go.
And they'll be motivated beyond the normal opening game and implications, because last year they got bullied on both trenches, in both trenches.
Yeah.
Which is something that I don't think happened to them a whole lot the rest of the year. But they got
LSU,
bullied.
Yeah. No, look, that game is going to be extremely physical. First game of the year. Both teams had a little taste of it a year ago, so there's a little bit of revenge status for LSU, who lost a heartbreaker and obviously wants to avenge that. Florida State understands the message it's sending if you win that game and what it does for you in terms of the get out of jail free card. So there's a lot on the line. There are a lot of elite athletes on the field. There are two intense coaches. And as much as I don't like Brian Kelly, he's a good football coach. They'll be prepared and ready to go. That is going to be physical, because that's how you try to offset that elite athleticism, is you punch people in the face. This is where that, and they both have that ability. So the test that I'm asking is going to get answered early. And it's right now 69 days away. Camp's a lot sooner than that, friends. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Tallahassee's 30-year-old Funny Paper and American Legion Post 13 have joined.
Hey guys, our next partner is AG1, the daily foundational nutritional supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it quite literally every single day. I began using AG1 because, I'll be honest with you, I don't like to take a bunch of pills and vitamins, and I just wanted something that tastes great, was quick, and easy to remember. So I do it. I do it every morning when I wake up. I certainly have it right after my coffee and before I work out. And I will tell you this, too. It is a simple, effective investment for your health. You can try AG1 and get 5 free AG1 travel packs and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/JCS. Again, that's all you got to do is go to drinkag1.com/JCS. That's drinkag1.com/JCS. Check it out. It's delicious. It's quick. It's easy. It's proven. Vitamins, probiotics, whole food source nutrients. Start your day with it. You'll feel better. I promise.
And rehab, all without a car. I'm Jimmy Fasig at Fasig Brooks. We hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777, and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Hey, this is your stomach speaking. It's time to eat again. We met deadlines and closed out the workday like a boss. The last thing you want to do is cook dinner. Even worse, pick up any fast food garbage. We need something good, something local. We need foodiestakeout.com. An all-star lineup of local spots like Smitty's Tap House, El Jalisco, Terry's Cafe, Hangar 38, Metro Deli, and more. It's so easy. Just choose pickup or delivery, and let's eat the good stuff. I'm growling already. Visit foodiestakeout.com.
If you've been considering getting a new hot tub or upgrading your existing hot tub, now's the absolute best time to do it. Hot Spring Spas has the jets on full blast, and the prices right now have never been hotter. You can find huge savings at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, and we mean huge. For a limited time, you can get up to $5,000 off in instant discounts and rebates, plus 60 months no interest financing for qualified buyers. You heard that right, $5,000 in discounts. And that's not all. When you buy a hot spring spa from Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, you'll get a free consultation to determine the best placement in your yard for installation, a free accessory of your choice, and install can be completed in just a matter of days. It's the most aggressive rebate program that's ever been available to buyers from Hot Spring Spas. So stop by Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road today to check out their 12,000 square foot showroom with over 50 hot tubs on site. If you're ready to relax, Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
It will either be LSU or Florida. An indicator of just how good these two teams are and how far away Florida State is from being one of these two teams wouldn't just be the fact that they're playing each other for a national championship. If you'd rather look just the quality of depth and talent on these two rosters, all you got to do is project ahead to Major League Baseball's draft, which is July 17th through the 19th, right? Or is that that's coming up soon enough, right? Am I wrong about that? It's coming up a little sooner than that, I think.
It's around the corner.
Yeah, it is around the corner. I'm not wrong about that.
The NHL draft's on Wednesday. I'm sure that's what you were thinking about.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Who you got going number one there, buddy? No.
It's the Connor Bedard kid.
I was teasing you. I didn't expect you to have a pick for number one.
Every 5 years or so, they have the guy. This is another one of those years where they have the guy. Chicago's getting him.
So here's what here was my point, though. I wanted to make. Baseball's draft is upcoming, and you're starting to see mocks, and that's what's come out so far. But when you watch these two teams play, and I've watched a lot of the College World Series, surprised I got sucked into it. I've really rather enjoyed it. Obviously, I'm rooting against Florida, as we all are, as really a nation should be. But when I watch this, one of the things that stands out is, again, the talent disparity between where these teams are, several teams actually in the College World Series, and where Florida State is. Now, obviously, Link's got a tall task at hand trying to get that turned around. He's already brought in a lot of guys. It's funny. The Pirates, Tom, will have the number one pick in the draft. So I'm watching very keenly here because we could either take Paul Skeens, who probably pitches quite a bit tonight, or Dylan Cruz, both of LSU. By the way, the number 1 and 2 picks in the draft are probably going to be LSU players. And if they're not, the third pick, who might be the second pick, is an outfielder at the University of Florida, followed by another outfielder at the University of Florida. You get the drift here as you look at the draft projections in the first round. LSU, Florida, another Florida guy. There's another.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
What are the high school kids doing? They're playing soccer?
No
high school kids in the top four?
There's a ton of high school kids after that, and there's one or two that they think may actually get brought in there too. But you're talking about elite level talent on display every night during this thing. And one thing to point out here, I went this morning to see. I wanted an indicator as to whether or not Paul Skeens was going to pitch because he's not on his normal rest. And you would like to watch him pitch. He's freaking evil, and people who've paid attention to college baseball know this. But he's thrown a lot, and it's not his normal rest. But when the odds came out today, LSU was favored. And I thought, well, that's probably telling you what Vegas thinks. LSU is a favorite at minus 145 on the money line. Florida plus 115 is the underdog. The run line has LSU minus a run and a half at plus 115 juice. Florida at plus 1.5, minus 145. All right, so there are your odds. What is it telling you after a 24-4 ass shellacking that LSU took yesterday, in which balls left the yard on the regular. Well, it's telling you that they believe the ace for LSU is going to pitch in some capacity tonight. Maybe not start, but the fact that they're favored means that they think Paul Skeens is going to play.
Yeah, a little mad bum action. Second time through the order. Here he comes.
You got to go. I mean, this is it. This is the end of the season. This is the whole shebang, man. Trying to win a national championship. And Florida's offensive lineup is too good not to have an elite pitcher out there against them. The good news for LSU is they do have Thatcher Hurd back as well. He was rested. They got the other
Thatcher?
kid.
Thatcher?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my.
Yeah, he's a baseball player. By the way, somewhere along the way, as we got old, the name Griffin as a first name became popular. They have they have a pitcher named Griffin Herring, who's also good. And
my generation had quite a few Griffins.
Really?
Yeah.
And mine had none. There was 0 Griffins when I grew up. Nobody was named Griffin unless it was their last name. So now we're always doing MLB The Show, and I see, MLB The Show, MLB Probables we do at the end of the show is what I'm trying to say. There's like Griffin Canning. There's another Griffin. I'm like, where are all these Griffins coming from? Florida will start the Caglione kid or whatever, the superstar freak who's
Joe Castiglione.
He's an unbelievable player. That's the one thing. When they came here, we were over at football practice. I said something about it the next day on the air. We're trying to compare and contrast where we're at as a program compared to these two programs and several others. And I walked down and watched Florida take batting practice.
We must have been doing special teams.
We were. And the whole time that I watched that, I was like, every kid that walked in there into the cage to hit was 6'4", 6'5". They were all 220 plus. They were all hitting bombs off the tent. There was just effortless power everywhere. They had a legit 6'7" first baseman. I was like, this is ridiculous. Everywhere you look, they look like major leaguers.
Well, they trust O'Sullivan. He's a good man. Stand-up guy.
It's so funny how, what do you do? I mean, how would you ever broach that as a broadcast? I mean, that guy, people can do some internet sleuthing. They'll find out all about that guy. But, yeah.
He is as he looks.
Yeah,
Never looked right, did he?
You know what he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that story is insidious.
It looked a little off.
It's awful.
It's kind of like Venables. If something came out about Venables, you'd be like, yeah, I believe it.
Well, and there's no evidence of this, everybody.
No evidence.
But
this is sports talk radio right now.
If what came out about Venables was that he was hopped up on goofballs, you'd go, yeah, he's hopped up on goofballs while drinking Red Bull. Yeah. Sure, agreed, no doubt. But I wouldn't say the same about him that we do.
No, it's different. But you look at O'Sullivan, you're like, man, something ain't right. What is that? It's a strange guy. Don't trust him.
Remember when he lost his team during that whole stuff off the field and they got pasted at home in the regional, like 20-something to whatever that was. And everybody's, what just happened to them?
Like, even if O'Sullivan walked into the showroom or the lobby area of, let's say, you're getting your car fixed, and he's making a recommendation. And he's like, well, here's what I found. Here's what's going to cost me. I don't believe you. Not for a second. I don't trust you.
I'm not buying it.
No, I'm going to the place down the road, man. No, thank you.
Well, whether it's Dylan Cruz that goes 1 or Paul Skeens that goes 1, those are two guys. Wyatt Langford for Florida is projected to go in the top 5. And it's just, you're kind of like, man, it'd be nice to roll out there to the College World Series with 4 or 5 guys that are going to get drafted in the first effing round. And when you watch Dylan Cruz and you see what he's done this year and last year, and you look, it's just, you're kind of just reminded that there's a look to certain guys. And I'm not saying you got to be giant to play baseball. There are a lot of guys under 6 feet tall that play really high level baseball. That's not it. But there's a certain look to that team, to LSU's team and to Florida's team, that makes ours look tiny in every way. And it's frustrating. By the way, the Paul Skeens kid is 6'6", 245 pounds. And when you watch him throw, you're like, yep, yes, that is a man. throwing 101 miles per
Not
hour.
88 over the outer half.
He's throwing 101 on the corners, buddy. 102 up in the zone, and he's still doing it in the eighth.
88 for a changeup, maybe.
It's just so, you're like, that's not finesse. It's 2-2, runners at first and second. I'm going to throw this 103 miles per hour. You're not going to hit it. You don't have that guy.
Take it as you will.
Frustrating. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
People filled the hallways of the Tallahassee Animal Shelter from June 23rd through the 25th as part of the Petco Love Mega Adoption. The shelter waived adoption fees and had open kennels all 3 days with the hopes of getting as many animals as possible adopted. Many animals got to go home with their forever families. For the animals that are still there, there's still a chance for them too. According to shelter director Erica Leckington, 21 dogs and 46 cats were adopted this past weekend. Workers at the Jefferson County Correctional Institution coming together off duty to support a colleague paralyzed from an accident through a fundraiser. A tree fell on Drawn Shaw's car in March in Northeast Tallahassee, injuring him and killing his daughter. People from across Big Bend came out to the Jefferson County Recycling Facility to show their support. The Cookout fundraiser raised over $6,000 for the family in a matter of less than 3 hours. While the Cookout fundraiser is over for now, you can still make donations to the Shaw family by contacting the Jefferson Correctional Institution. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun this afternoon with scattered thunderstorms likely. High of 92, southwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Scattered thunderstorms again tonight. Lows level off around 75, partly cloudy skies. Chance for scattered storms tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 95. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 88.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow little burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
And make him the JD RTA guy, I should say, make him the head coach, much to the chagrin of diehard Miami fans. He's been an assistant coach at Miami for 21 years, and those are the years that Miami fans are upset about. So they weren't real happy that he got elevated to the job. But here's what I was going to tell you, and I remember him as a pitcher. But this is crazy. Miami has advanced to the College World Series twice in the last 15 years. In 15 and 16 under Jim Morris. And that's it. They were the number 9 ranked team, seed, I should say, of the 64 teams in the tournament this year before being ousted in the first round by Texas. So, I know we were all heartbroken there. Radakovich was said to have interviewed Troy Tulowitzki, who's an assistant at Texas.
And a nut for the game.
Yeah.
Loves crazy.
Loves baseball. Wake Forest's Tom Walter, South Carolina's Mark Kingston, Marlins assistant coach, former UM player, John Jay, whose pants were entirely too tight when he played. Chris
left a mark on you.
Oh, it's disturbing. Every time he'd come to the plate, I'm like, really with these pants? Jesus, man. Duke's Chris Pollard and former LSU coach Paul Maneri. By the way, Chris Pollard from Duke withdrew his name. He's like, no, I'm better off here at Duke than going to Miami.
I don't like what I've seen.
It's interesting. It's again, I mean, I know this isn't, we don't care about Miami and we would just assume spit on them, but what I'm saying is that just taking a look at programs in the state, it's Florida and everybody else, and it's not close in baseball. And that happened kind of both slowly and all at once.
And it's been that way for about 10 years now. Maybe longer, maybe. But, yeah, hurtful.
It just sucks. It fuels the fire, buddy. I'm sure nobody's more pissed about that than Link. But there's work to be done, and they're doing it right now. But it's gonna be a minute.
Since 2001, we've been to the CWS 5 times. What the hell is that? Rubbish. By the standards of yesteryear.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Just rubbish.
It is. And that's why you have to hope that this gets turned around sooner rather than later. With the additions that they've already made this offseason, Florida State will be a better program next year than last. How could they not? You see the quality of player that they're bringing in. It's just that you realize there's a lot more to do, and it doesn't happen overnight. So, you just hope that this gets to where you're back competing in the league again and playing in the postseason. And then you'll start to look at the team makeup and see if you're close enough to go back out to Omaha and make a real run at it.
The parallels between what Mike Norvell went through and what Link Jarrett is currently going through, they're not, up and down the line exactly the same, but there are quite a few. And the composition of the roster and the look of it, just the look of it, as you said, when you take in a batting practice of UF coming to town.
Yeah, it's flabbergasting. Yeah.
You take a look at many of the teams that made it to the College World Series, not all of them.
No.
And what they have coming out of the pen, it just reminds me of going to the off-season workouts, the tour of duty, as they call it now under Mike Norvell. I couldn't think of it, the mat drills, and thinking this team better be the most angry bunch ever.
And I remember
kind of chippy and dirty, because it's not going to be 3rd and 2, and you could just run you're going to lose 3 yards on 3rd and 2 if you try to run the ball.
I just remember laughing at that, though, Tom. Not. You made the comment. You were right. You were like, well, you were trying to find a path.
Well, what's it going to take to make a bowl is what I was thinking.
But my thought was that, when you said that at that time, when you were like, man, they better really be scrappy and tough and kind of borderline dirty if they're going to. I was like, man, bigger, stronger, faster is real. I don't care how chippy you are. If I'm bigger, stronger, faster, you're screwed. You'd be the chippiest damn guy in the world.
Not at the end of Bobby's time.
So
a lot of bigger, stronger, faster here that lost. That's what my hope.
Well,
was. That was
my
my rationalization.
Wayne too. Yeah, no,
I'm looking for. We weren't going to be Clemson, but I need Wake Forest to not be paying attention on a given Saturday. I need NC State to slip up, even though they have bigger, stronger, faster, because we certainly don't.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that now. You're still not all the way back on defense, but you are pretty close to all the way back on offense, without a doubt. And something, as I circle back now to the beginning of the show where we're talking about Jordan Travis's development, where he's at and what we expect to see in the future here. Obviously Luke Kromenhoek was here and he's an FSU commit. And every time that anybody watches him play football, he gets better and better and better. And it's exciting to watch his growth as well as he becomes a more high profile star of the game recruit. But I also like just the way that he continues to talk up Florida State and talk about the players that he thinks are on the verge of committing to Florida State and all that. Good news coming, quote unquote, from what Kromenhoek had to say. And that's great. You want a ringleader like that. You want a guy who's a high profile guy at that position, really kind of leading the charge. But you marry that with the transfer portal and Keon Coleman and Jordan Travis talking about what he's seen from him so far, his mindset, his work ethic, and how hard he prepares every day. And that's cool to hear as well, because that's what you have to have. You have to have not just athleticism, but a willingness to put in the work and to come in here and get along. And that's been the thing that's really been surprising, is that Florida State's use of the transfer portal heavily, obviously, has led to this great success and rapid turnaround, but they've somehow married it with a kumbaya in the locker room that wouldn't seem to fit a transfer portal team. So that's because it hasn't just been, are you a good player? It has been, are you a good player? Obviously, we wouldn't be talking to you if you weren't. Are you a good player? Do you fill a need? And can you come in here and do what we're asking you to do? And will you keep this thing moving along swimmingly? Or are you going to be a problem? Are you going to be the squeaky wheel? Are you going to be somebody we have to worry about poisoning in the locker room? And so far, the answers have been a resounding no. They have figured out that formula. They've been able to get the yeses from the right kinds of guys. And so that's the first I've heard another player comment on Keon Coleman. We saw him play at Michigan State. We know what kind of talent he is. We know the measurables. So you already knew he could come in and be an impactful player just because of who he is physically. But you do, again, when you're relying on the portal, you better hope that you get the right guys that come in here and aren't just athletic, but also guys that fit the work ethic that locker room currently provides. And so it sounds like, at least now, I think Jordan would roll him under the bus in June in an interview at the Manning camp? No. But I also don't think he'd go out of his way to talk about how hard he's working if he wasn't.
No, and I don't think he's a reverse psychology guy who would, go.
Jameis was.
Yeah, Jameis was.
Jameis was. Yeah.
Yes, but Jordan doesn't strike me as somebody who'd use that type of a tactic. So, yeah, I take it on its face. I think it also implies that, again, in the NIL sphere, everybody is well taken care of, that needs to be well taken care of, because you have people act out when they don't believe that they are compensated at the level that they deserve. So obviously Keon Coleman would have never come here if that part of the presentation was not where it needed to be. But I'm just saying, if you look at multi-year transfers and how this roster is shaken out, and a lot of the veterans, they're still bought in and they're all working together, which means that there isn't infighting and checking each other's pockets, which is really important. And it's a unique challenge to this era of college football. But I'm sure you also noted as well that Jordan did comment, and Aslan did ask about Destin Hill.
Destin Hill, yeah. Yeah, same thing. Same thing. Work ethic, athletic, all of that.
That's good to hear.
Well, we said when we were having fun with the top 40 and we were talking about guys that could surprise Friday's show last week when we were doing, or Thursday's show, I should say. We were doing ISF, Solving for the Future. And as we were attempting to solve for the future, a couple of guys, we were talking about who's somebody we're not really leaning upon heavily, not somebody we're talking about all that much, that may surprise and be a big impact on this year's team and the success of this year's team. And a couple of people said Destin Hill. And, listen, if he's football ready, there's the explosiveness plays now.
Yes, and it would on special teams immediately as you get used to the offense and as you gain chemistry with Jordan Travis. To watch us have to sort out all of the receivers in this fall's camp is going to be really fun to watch.
Let them fight.
It's the first couple of weeks you can mix things around, you can be liberal with that, but then from that point towards LSU, you kind of have to shrink it down, let Tate and AJ and Brock work with the second teamers because you've got to get on the same page. But you've got a lot of different skill sets that Jordan Travis will work with. He knows most of them, but guys who've had some bumps and bruises. I mean, so how do you fit Dewspan and Darion Williamson and Kentron into the equation, or Winston Wright, if they're all healthy? Let's just say they're all fully up to speed and good to go. How do you fit them into the equation with Destin and Vandravius, and then obviously your two pillars on the outside?
What a wonderful problem.
Holy
what
cow.
What a wonderful problem to have. My goodness gracious.
You talk about competition and one-on-ones.
It's the kind of competition that leads people to transfer. Good. That's where you got to be. You have to be at a place where you're constantly worried that one of your players who you kind of like is going to transfer. That's where I'm at with the running back room. I know that one of those guys, probably more than one, is going to take it on down the road after this year. They're going to be pissed.
But it's after this year, because if somebody goes down for a game or two, there's your opportunity. High-profile offense, a lot of primetime kicks this year coming.
Yeah. No, it's an awesome situation to be in, where you're like, oh, well, you know what? Just have too much talent there, guys. Somebody's going to leave us. It already happened with Ward. I mean, that's kind of where you're at.
Malik?
Yeah. I mean, and that's unfortunate, but that's where you want to be. You want to constantly be in a place where, the threat of somebody taking it to greener pastures is very real because they're just not going to touch the ball enough. And I think our receiving core is now in that place. Somebody in this group is going to ride out after this year out of frustration. Maybe not. I'm not saying you're required to do it. I mean, you could hang in there and then take that, mature approach to working hard, getting better, and then seeing your opportunities grow by the time you're a junior or senior. But not everybody's that patient these days.
The exciting thing is now that he's on board, because we had these hypotheticals, and I was wondering aloud if Keon Coleman would upset the apple cart when it comes to the NIL hierarchy. Like, how much is he asking for? Because clearly the way he treated his free agency, if you will, was aggressive.
Yeah.
God, do you really need this? But now that he's here and everything's kumbaya, Jordan will trust you to one-on-one. I cannot wait to watch Keon Coleman in fall camp go to work in one-on-ones because he fights through contact. He will initiate it. He is vicious at times when it's a one-on-one jump ball situation. Jordan loves to throw that ball. So I can't wait to see what he actually looks like against some of our defensive backs.
This was kind of like a nice tub talk with our folks at Pinch a Penny, making it really easy to finally get the hot tub or spa that you've been thinking about. Now's the time for me to tell the fine folks about that, Tommy. You can put a Northwest hot tub in your backyard, one of these big giant ones, these huge.
Put it in the southeast wing.
It's $99 a month. Installation, hot tub covers included there. I have gone in there and spoken with the owner personally, and he said that this is the most aggressive that they've been this summer with these deals. They've got 50 hot tubs and spas in stock right now. Showroom is massive. It's over 12,000 square feet. If you want to relax, you can afford to do it now. $99 a month will get you one of these kick-ass hot tubs. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with.
Ryan Finn in Tallahassee, it's time to spring into health. Spring brings neck pain, back pain, headaches, and allergies. We have specific adjustments that can help with these issues.
This is Dr. Shannon Lord. Don't let neck pain, back pain, headaches, or allergies stop you from enjoying the Sunshine State. Spring into action and make your appointment online at finnchiro.com, FENNCHIRO.com.
That's FENNCHIRO.com.
Remember, your chiropractor loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Hi, this is Jamie McClenny from Trek Financial in Tallahassee. Managing downside risk in your portfolio is one of the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement. Trillions of dollars in stimulus from the Federal Reserve and D.C. politicians, combined with zero interest rates, have propped up financial markets since the financial crisis ended in 2009. The Fed recently ended quantitative easing and has started to raise interest rates at a time when the global economy was already slowing. Have you considered what another 50% correction in the stock market would do to your retirement plan? If you're concerned about where this all might be headed and would like to find out about the potential benefits of an active risk management strategy for your portfolio, give me a call at 850-900-5200 and schedule a time for a review of your portfolio from an active risk management perspective.
Make Jamie your first call for a second opinion. Investment advisory services are offered through Trek Financial, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
There's no doubt that buying a home can feel overwhelming, especially if it's your first home. You're worried about location, school zones, square footage, inspections, insurance, loan approvals, interest rates, and of course the price. Buying a home could be the most significant investment you've ever made. But there's good news. You have our friends at Legendary Home Loans, and they're on your side and in your corner. They're going to go to bat for you. Shannon Young from Legendary Home Loans can help first-time home buyers get up to $25,000 for your down payment. For first responders, veterans, teachers, military, and healthcare workers, and that's not all, Shannon is an expert navigator of the home loan terrain, and you can trust that he's going to get you the most competitive interest rates and guide you through the process every step of the way. Plus, Shannon will also get your closing costs reduced. It's the Hometown Heroes program at Legendary Home Loans. Give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN. Or go to FSUHomeLoans.com and ask for Shannon Young.
NMLS number 2270-146.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT. Greta, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and line movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Florida Gators found LSU 24-4, setting a College World Series record with 24 runs, enforcing a Game 3 of the best-of-3 championship series today in Omaha, Nebraska. LSU opens as a $1.40 favorite, Florida plus 110, 9 flat the total, 54% of the money on Florida to win the game. And the national title today. Track where all the money is flowing for every game on the board. Betting splits available at VSIN.com. Spencer Strider on the mound for the Atlanta Braves today. A minus 205 favorite at home with Minnesota, plus 175, 8.5 under the total. Sign up now for your free VSIN subscription at VSIN.com/subscribe. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Join Macy's and the Trevor Project to give a lifeline of support to LGBTQ young people now during Pride Month. Donate online today or round up your Macy's store purchase and donate the extra change up to 99 cents to the Trevor Project. You'll be supporting life-saving suicide prevention services for LGBTQ young people. Donate today and learn more about our commitment to brighter futures for all at Macy's.com/purpose.
Hey, it's me, Ruthie from Total Wine & More. You know how stores have been raising their prices lately? Well, lean into your speaker a little closer because I've got a big secret to share. Total Wine is actually lowering our prices on hundreds of wines. I know, right? And even better, our new lower prices on hundreds of wines are here to stay. But listen, don't thank me. At Total Wine, we love helping our customers save big. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, be 21.
If you've been considering getting a new hot tub or upgrading your existing hot tub, now's the absolute best time to do it. Hot Spring Spas has the jets on full blast, and the prices right now have never been hotter. You can find huge savings at Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas, and we mean huge. For a limited time, you can get up to $5,000 off in instant discounts and rebates, plus 60 months no interest financing for qualified buyers. You heard that right, $5,000 in discounts. And that's not all. When you buy a hot spring spa from Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas, you'll get a free consultation to determine the best placement in your yard for installation, a free accessory of your choice, and install can be completed in just a matter of days. It's the most aggressive rebate program that's ever been available to buyers from Hot Spring Spas. So stop by Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road today to check out their 12,000 square foot showroom with over 50 hot tubs on site. If you're ready to relax, Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
Lawson & Lawson Electrical Services has been Tallahassee's preferred residential electrician for over 30 years. Hi, this is Rowdy Lawson, and we've earned our reputation because we care about our customers, about quality, and about providing great service. We stand by every job we do and consider it a privilege to work on a family project like a new house, a custom addition, or a green renovation. For all your residential or service projects, call the good guys, Lawson & Lawson Electrical Services, 562-4111.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Soon that means camp gets going. Then we have real things that are happening. All the cool things where you're like, oh, so-and-so was awesome yesterday. Hey, this position battle is really shaping up nicely. So just got to survive till then. I know also there's the thought, Tom, that you and I are starting to look at that calendar closely. You've got vacation coming up. I got a little bit, but we both have a trip to Charlotte for the ACC kickoff. So that is that is on the radar now officially.
I look forward to that 6-hour drive with you. That'll be good.
I get there very quickly, don't I? It's remarkable how quickly I can get us to Charlotte.
It is. It's almost like being in a helicopter.
I wish it were that quick. I did see something over the weekend that made me laugh. Speaking of like dangerous activities and all that, that's been on the mind since the implosion of the submersible. But and people who do that, years ago, I called out the fraudulent industry of these giant air balloons and how people are getting killed left and right, and that's just not something you need to do. You see that one of them caught fire again over in Europe. They still haven't learned the lesson.
Caught fire?
Caught fire. They're always hitting power lines. I don't know how difficult it is not to hit a damn obvious-ass power line, but boy, they struggle. It seems inherent to the problem with these air balloons that somehow you don't steer them all that well.
No. I think it's more about up and down and steering left and right.
I think the steering part seems to be problematic because one would presume this is a professional operating this air balloon and the little basket we get it. My problem is I never do it. First of all, I'm afraid of heights. Secondly, it seems a little shaky. Third, it's been proven to be very, very shaky. And fourth, I would tell you that I just don't trust the other passengers. Like, what if you're in there with somebody who wants everybody to die? He's just like, screw it, tries to tip the basket. There you are. And you would act, you say to yourself, like, well, I would act. Nowadays, post 9/11, when you're on a plane, if somebody gets up and they're a little squirrely, every man on that plane is beating that dude's ass. They're going to die.
These days, they whip out their phones because they know there's going to be a viral moment.
Yeah. But, like, it doesn't take but 2 seconds once somebody stands up and says something crazy for people to be like, pap, pap, it's over. I'm not having this. Ever since the shoe guy, everybody's like, nope, not having it. But in a basket, you're screwed. Guy's like, hey, what do you think of that? What do you think of that? He's shaking the basket, and you want to step towards him, but you can't shake the basket more. You're in trouble. He's got you.
No, he doesn't.
Oh,
clearly you want to fly. Clearly you want to know what it feels like to fly, sir. So I'm going to help you.
No, but see, then it's because of a wrestling match and the basket's shaking everywhere. And people are like, damn it, man. This is going to tip. Anyhow, if it doesn't, you're going to hit wires and die. Jeff, email. If I'm not mistaken, team sent 3 players to the ACC kickoff last year. Assuming that's still the case, who does Norvell choose this year? I have no idea. We've actually thought about this and talked about this some behind the scenes. Like, it's not that big a deal. It is an off-season subject, but it is a tough call. Obviously, Jordan Travis is going. You would think Jared Verse is going. I would think those two would be candidates to be number 1 and 2. And then from there, I don't know, man. Would it be Johnny Wilson? Would it be Trey Benson? Would it be a veteran who's been here a long time, has high hopes of having that breakout season because he's free of injury, like Fabian? Yeah. I don't know. They've got options there.
I wonder if you would handicap it if there were future odds for this. We wager on almost everything. But Florida State announced just an hour or two ago that we're getting Jordan and Trey Benson on Wednesday for a little talk with the media, just to discuss summer workouts and how those are gone. Just a little update. Good job, Florida State football, to give us content just before the July 4th holiday. But I wonder if that means that Trey is not going? Or does that fortify the case that because Trey Benson is speaking with Jordan, that he would be the choice? Because it's got to be Jordan and Jared. 100%. Got to be.
Yeah, and they're also, well, in the case of Jared Verse, you kind of want him there. He's going to be funny. He's going to say, he's going to say what he thinks. You'll get something out of him. That's an interview. Jordan's going to, again, talk about, hard work, process, and all that. That's fine. That's what you want from your quarterback. He doesn't need to say anything salacious. And then from there, I don't know. I don't know. I've interviewed all of the guys that we just mentioned, and they're all good candidates. Trey's fun to talk to. Johnny Wilson's a little bit more stoic, kind of quiet, but thoughtful.
P. Simpson suggests Robert Scott, which if he wasn't coming off of injury, I think that would be a good candidate.
Because he's hilarious.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if he's going to get his job back. So,
yes.
That's kind of a problem, You're like, I don't know. You guys going to do any of the top like 15 tonight? Is what are you on?
We've got another
What numbers?
panel of it. No, we're going to break it out into individual videos for 5 through 1.
Mhm.
We've already got it broken out otherwise. The 20 through 16 list, which I believe we were on together with Corey.
We are on that list together.
Yeah.
That comes out today?
It went out. It is
Oh,
out.
I missed it.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's the beauty of Warchant TV. You don't ever have to.
You
just
go there,
click
you
on
grab
over.
it. You're like, there are those
Yep.
silly gooses.
Especially
There they are.
Charlie Campbell.
Decided to break out the Charlie Campbell today.
Oh, Jeff.
You
Don't be a-
silly goose,
Don't
you.
be a silly goose.
You silly goose, you. Yeah, there we are, 16 through 20. And there wasn't, listen, it's been fun. We've had not arguments, but disagreements based around talent. Not just like throwing something against the wall and hoping it sticks. You're like, no, legitimately, that guy could be a top 15 player, or he could be 30th. I don't know. There's just that many good players.
Yeah, I think the debate we had, in fact, I know the debate we had was about Josh Farmer versus Braden Fisk. You and I had Josh Farmer a lot higher on our list because of the known. And then Corey
Braden
had
Fisk is
Braden
the unknown, but yeah.
because he is a veteran who obviously looks the part of somebody who would play interior defensive line for Florida State. And he's got the chops.
One thing I really will say about that, I am really excited to see Braden Fisk. And because, again, when we were out there, like, he could not participate fully due to the injury that he had at Western Michigan, and he was recovering from that. He's going to be ready to go come fall camp. But all we could do is watch him race Mike Norvell the start of every day. It blew me away that a man who is every bit 300 pounds could run that fast. I mean, it is freakish. I mean, there is an exact example of why it is that, like, football has changed so dramatically from when I played in the 80s. When you look at somebody now, nobody 300 pounds needs to run like that. He was going. Beat him several times. Mike's older, obviously, but Mike's a $190 or whatever he is.
Yeah, even in some of the non-contact defensive line drills, which he could take part in, you could see the pursuit.
You could. And you saw that he carries the weight really well. Like, he can get bigger.
Yes.
He carries the weight exceptionally well. He's athletic is the point I'm making. Quick-footed. He looks the part. He looks intense, looks like he's excited to play. Really ingratiated himself with his fellow defensive linemen, really in a way that you didn't think possible, given that he couldn't participate in the actual drills.
Yeah. If I'm speaking honestly about the perfect pairing defensive interior, if Darrell Jackson is maximized, he and Braden Fisk together is a perfect 1-2 combo. Darrell is too big to not double, and then if Braden's in a one-on-one against a guard, he's so quick. That is terror to try and defend as an offensive line.
A nightmare. They're good. The only thing I worry about along the defensive line is whether or not you have enough depth on the defensive end spot. I don't think you do. Your two starters are really good. We'll see after that.
Well, Braden's played out there, so he and Dennis Briggs could go flex on first and second down.
You can absolutely flex one of them to the outside. Yeah, I agree with that. So that's why I think this is going to have a better season than a lot of people think, speaking of the top 40, because I think he's finally healthy, and I think he's versatile. You can do multiple things with him, and I think he's due to have a lot of guys. We're actually very fortunate when you're this far along with a guy's career. They reach a make or break point, and a lot of our guys are coming into the season with money on the mind. And these are the seasons where they've got to go out and put something on film that changes their financial fortunes. And they're all extremely motivated, as one would be in that scenario. They're healthy. Knock on wood, it stays that way. And there's competition for playing time. So you've got the perfect mix of ingredients for these guys to go out and play with their hair on fire and be a nightmare for opposing offensive lines, because they're trying to compete against each other. They're trying to put good tape out there. They're trying to get paid, and they're physically gifted, and they're healthy. That is an exciting combination.
But given that they're all trying to go get paid, the ACC kickoff in Charlotte is not a zero decision, in terms of potential blowback. I think a lot of guys would want to make that trip with Jordan and Jerry. A lot of guys.
Well, I think the way you do it, unless you have let's say in a given year, you have a bona fide superstar who happens to be a sophomore or a junior. A guy that's an All-American, a guy that's going to go pro after that year, a guy that's, a first-round pick. Barring that, you always side with the seniors. That's how you get out of it. You don't have to, you say, well,
Fabian.
yeah.
So it's Fabian.
Well, you'd say, listen, you're the caliber of player we're looking for to bring up there to the ACC kickoff, but we had to side with a senior leader. That's how you can get out of it without getting in trouble. And most people would understand that. You're like, okay, he's been here longer. He's put it in time.
Yep.
Most people would.
So we'll break the news then. It'll be Jordan, Jared, and Fabian Lovett.
My man brought the Zaxby's in today. Did you take a picture of the cup? Did you see that?
I could bring it into this. Yeah,
there we go. Look at that. Director Matthew. Yeah. There we go.
In here.
There we go. Zaxby's. Look at that.
I've been dipping on some fries here during the breaks.
Zaxby's here in Tallahassee. Proud Golden Chief boosters for over 18 years. Home to the best chicken sandwich available. Amongst many other things, those platters are delicious too. And the Zax sauce, especially the spicy Zax sauce, very delectable.
Time savers. I know there are times when we want to go out, we want to procure food for everybody, but that's just an excuse to take some extra me time. So if it takes a little longer to prepare, you don't want to go to Zaxby's in that situation because Zaxby's prepares them quick. It's easy. It's turnkey. And that's what you want for all your picnics, your pool parties.
Absolutely.
Maybe the 4th, the weekend. You're going to be barbecuing so much, you're going to need a meal off or a night off.
I did some grilling over the weekend for me and the wife. Kids are out of town. It was just me and her. I grilled it up. Also, speaking of pool parties, stopped by and saw a good friend of ours, Metro Deli's, Rob.
I couldn't.
And there were a lot of fine folks out there at that pool party. He always throws a great shindig, and I was happy to be invited. But this is another good indicator, Tom. As we sat around the pool having a nice cold beer, talking about the future, we were hyper-focused on Florida State football and talking about the games we're going to, the trips we're going to take, the places we're going to meet our loved ones, to which away games do we want to be at. You and I can obviously pick and choose at those. I think we've talked about going up to Clemson, going up to Pittsburgh perhaps as well. Who knows? I'd love to be up at Pittsburgh for a cool November game.
Yeah, that's a nice weekend.
With something on the line, something that matters.
By November, there will be several playoff shows. Yeah, we'll see what Florida State's ranking is with the committee if we do what we're supposed to do.
It's been so strange to watch college football and have no thought about where people are ranked because it hasn't mattered to us one iota. Other than, we want to see justice done in the college football world. But, yeah, I mean, for the most part, you've just kind of been sitting around going, it doesn't really affect us in any way, shape, or form.
We're going to have to watch that farce this year if we do what we're supposed to do. We're going to have to watch that farce through October and November.
We don't have to take it serious.
You don't have to watch the whole program, but you got to sit through the 5 minutes of BS before they roll out the rankings. Unless they put it on the bottom line early, even though it's completely secret and not known before the show starts. But hopefully they'll just leak during 6 o'clock Sports Center and we're covered.
I just hope we make it a moot point. I just hope that we win. If you win both these games, the two of your first 4, you got to obviously win the other 2. That's a given. But you have LSU and Clemson. If you win both those games, then you really don't need to watch that show. You're in. As long as you don't lose the final game in the ACC championship when you rematch Clemson in all likelihood. Unless North Carolina pieces it together finally.
No, that's true. That's 100% true. If you were to go 4-0 and September is once again a bright spot for Florida State.
In September, if we finish September 4-0, you're going to the college football playoff as long as you don't lose the ACC championship game.
And maybe if you do, as long as you win all 12 of your regular season.
Yeah, maybe if you do. That's a big if. But, I mean, you can settle things, just like I said in the first hour about whether or not we're physical enough, whether or not we're tough enough, physical enough defensively. Are we able to handle it for teams that want to line up and bully us? LSU's a great test right out the gate, so you don't have to wait long to get an answer to that question. Just like you don't have to wait very long to get an answer to the question of whether or not we're good enough and do we belong. Well, you beat Clemson on the road and you beat LSU in that game in Orlando. You belong. You're good. You're in good shape. It takes something weird.
June 26th. How do you feel? September's record. Not W's and L's. You don't have to say which game. 3-1?
Yeah, I feel like 3-1, but I wouldn't be surprised with 4-0.
Woo!
I wouldn't be. I think they're going to be good, man. I think they're really good. I've told people that this year. I think they're really good. The thing that I try to do when I have the conversation about whether we're really good or not is say, yeah, we're really good. Now, there's a whole nother level to winning a national championship, and we're not on par right now, and we haven't been recruiting in the same way that Georgia does, in the same way that Ohio State has. And, so that's problematic. I mean, you wouldn't favor Florida State to beat Alabama if they played tomorrow. You wouldn't favor Florida State to beat Georgia if they played tomorrow. You wouldn't favor Florida State to beat Ohio State if they played tomorrow. So there are teams ahead of us. I'm not saying we're the best team in college football, but are we the best team in the ACC? That might, well, A, we're going to be able to prove that one way or the other. B, it seems like a reasonable discussion to have. I think Florida State belongs in that conversation. Are they the best team in the ACC? Yeah, I think you can make an argument they are. Even if you don't think they are, even if you think Clemson still is, you don't find it absurd to posit the idea that Florida State is the best team in the ACC. So that shows you just how good they are. And then the league is weak. So you play a bunch of teams that you are better than. You're physically better than. And I think this is a well-coached football team. I think that Mike Norvell is a very good football coach. You're not like Alex Atkins is a very good football coach. Schematically, they don't put you behind the eight ball when you go out there and face teams with reasonable skill.
They don't ever do anything without having several answers behind it. It's never a one-off.
Yeah.
There's always a greater purpose to what they do.
Again, the whole season, I'll do it again and again and again, and I'm going to keep doing it. The whole season's whether or not your defense is rising to the place where we can talk about them in the same breath as the offense. Do we get to a...
God, if they're ever in the same breath as the offense.
Well, I'm saying, look, I think...
It's not a Lincoln Riley defense, though.
It's not like a sieve. It's just got to be pretty good for you to win 10, 11 games. If it's real good, if it's like legitimately good, it changes the nature of the conversation. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hey, folks, it's me, Mac and More, spokesperson for Tallahassee's favorite Apple and Mac product store, Mac and More. We all know what Mac is all about. It's your MacBooks, iMacs, Apple Watch, iPhones,
Hey
iPads.
guys, our next partner is AG1, the daily foundational nutritional supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it quite literally every single day. I began using AG1 because, I'll be honest with you, I don't like to take a bunch of pills and vitamins, and I just wanted something that tastes great, was quick, and easy to remember, so I do it. I do it every morning when I wake up. I certainly have it right after my coffee and before I work out. And I will tell you this, too. It is a simple, effective investment for your health. You can try AG1 and get 5 free AG1 travel packs and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/JCS. Again, that's all you got to do is go to drinkag1.com/JCS. That's drinkag1.com/JCS. Check it out. It's delicious. It's quick. It's easy. It's proven. Vitamins, probiotics, whole food source nutrients. Start your day with it. You'll feel better. I promise.
That's roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name, because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Hit grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse?
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing's just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996. Power Mill Training Academy equips motivated athletes focused on baseball and softball with the specific tools to reach their true potential. Now, you'll read that if you go to their website, but I'm here to tell you that, look, whether it's your daughter wanting to play softball, your son wants to play baseball, or maybe they just want to have fun and get the most out of their abilities, and that's where Power Mill comes into play. They've got coaches and camps that teach for every level of play for your son or your daughter. To learn more, go to PowerMillSports.com. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Florida State's own John Pack, who was an unreal golfer at Florida State. We've mentioned John Pack before. I've had him on the air years ago. He got a win on the Canadian Tour, and that's going to be important. He had wrist surgery not all that long ago, and, frankly, since leaving Florida State, turning pro, trying to make it on the PGA Tour, he has struggled some, partly due to injury. But he finished 21 under at the Saskatchewan Open there at Elk Ridge, and that is PGA Tour Canada. And it's his first ever professional victory. And by the way, if you shoot a 63 in the final round in order to procure said victory, that is doing some things. And that's exactly what he did. And so I just want to say congratulations to him. I had him on the SiriusXM show, came into the studio and hung out. He and his girlfriend walked in and they hung out for like 30 minutes after we were done. And we just talked all things golf. And so I really root for this guy. Obviously, you know what he did at Florida State from 2017 through 2021. He won 8 times, tied for the most in program history. He won the Jack Nicklaus Award. He won the Big Hogan Award, the Fred Haskins Award. He was the first guy in the inaugural PGA Tour University class that year. He finished first in that. He's the only Knoll to earn first-team All-American honors twice in their career. So we thought the segue onto the PGA Tour would be a little bit easier than it has been for him. But again, that wrist injury that he had to have surgery on kind of set him back. He was really struggling with that. He's not terribly long off the tee, so I think losing distance there was hurting him, but he gets a win now. And, is that an elite tour? No. Is it a professional tour? Yes. And if you win those events, do you get opportunities elsewhere? You do. So good for you, John Pack.
That's how a 5-time major champion from Florida State made his way. It wasn't traditional. John had an inside track. It didn't work out initially, but you never know. This could be the start of something.
Man, he's so cool, man. I don't know if you've seen the video. Good for him. He was emotional. He was talking because when you have wrist surgery and you're a golfer, anything where you're swinging a bat or a club, you have wrist surgery. It's scary. And he kind of started getting choked up when he was sitting there, and the interviewer asked him about his parents and about the trip back and coming off the surgery, and you could see it was getting to be a little overwhelming.
His dad's intense as can be. Having been out to a couple of those events. If the puck goes in, you hear, yeah! Like that's it, and then nothing else. And then his dad marches onto the tee box.
We got Ira?
We do.
Awesome. It's you and him tonight, right? On the Smash?
That is correct.
Looking forward to it. Don't forget, everybody, tonight, 7 o'clock, the Monday Smash. This time around, it's always Ira. But this time around, it's Tom with him. And I think they'll probably talk some about recruiting. Ira, I know you were out there over the weekend, buddy, braving the heat. That's nuts. What are you doing out there? We got guys who do recruiting, Ira. You tell those boys to get out there and do their damn job.
Jeff, they had 14 official visitors, bud. Sometimes they got to call the old crafty left-hander up.
And you provided. It sounds like the weekend went well. I know most people are wringing hands because they didn't get an official, verbal commit or anything like that. But it does sound like everything reporting is that it went well and that they made strides with a lot of these guys, and that it won't be too long. Maybe in July we'll start hearing verbal commits to Florida State. Is that about sum it up?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and again, like if you think about the way recruiting has evolved over the years, not just the calendar, but it started, I don't know, man, it seems like it started, 7-8 years ago where coaches started kind of orchestrating like when kids commit. And sometimes the kids do it themselves. They have reasons for why they want to announce what they want to announce. But, a lot of times now coaches like to orchestrate it. I don't think it was a totally bizarre set of circumstances that led to Florida having 7 or 8 commitments in a cluster there, last week. And I think Florida State's going to have their guys who are ready to probably commit in July. It sounds like a lot of them are going to announce around July 4th, the first few days of July. So I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think this was a weekend where everybody left and just said, "Oh, thanks for the visit.
Right.
We'll see you later." I think they got some good words from some players, but we won't get the announcements probably for another week or two.
I don't know offhand what you heard out there or how much you delved into it. Like for me, and this is very specific to me, I always look at the line of scrimmage. Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing like everybody else is that we're real good for Danzy, the running back out of Tallahassee, but I don't turn my attention there. I turn my attention instead to Jonathan Daniels. So of those guys, Daniels and Holmes, who's the defensive end, those are the guys, I guess Hilton, those kinds of players. Are we hearing good things? We feel good about that?
I do think so. And, it's funny listening to just some of the comments from the other recruits, like Camden Pryor, Matt Pryor's son.
Yeah.
Who's committed to Florida State. And he said, he and Luke Krummenhoek, the quarterback commit, were talking to Ty Hilton, and they're saying, look, man, they're basically like not making fun of the other schools he's considering, but like, come on, dude, what are you doing here? Because, he's not the highest rated recruit, but Alex Atkins really likes him, and Florida State wants him. But Florida State's by far, the most attractive school that he's considering, and so there's some of that from the kids who are committed are just like saying to these other kids, look, man, what do you do? Why are you messing around? Why are you waiting? Let's go ahead and jump on this. And it's Jonathan Daniels. I mean, I think there was a funny interaction on social media where one of the guys who does the graphics, Hayes Fawcett for On3, does the graphics for kids when they commit, the edits. And he put out a tweet basically saying, if you guys any recruits need edits, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Daniels responded and said, hey, hit me up. I need information. So that's probably a good sign coming off of his Florida State visit that he's looking for his edits. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're in good shape with those guys. And, defense is what everybody's kind of panicking about because they don't have a lot of defensive commitments and they didn't have a lot of defensive guys in this weekend. But, I still think there's plenty of time, and I don't think it's anything. I don't get any sense that the staff is overly concerned.
I'd be excited if they could get D.D. Holmes. And you always hold out hope. I mean, this is not my cup of tea, of course, but I always pay attention to recruiting. One thing that's developed over the years is you recognize there are areas of the country where you have a real good shot at stealing kids. In other areas where you go, I'm not so sure we're going to be able to wrestle that one away. They seem to be a little bit more committed in that state. Are you surprised by, there are 3 prominent Georgia kids that were in this weekend. The Reagan's kid, the Fox kid, who I don't like, and the Solomon kid. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll ask your opinion. Do you think they get any of the Georgia kids?
I think they could. I mean, Alex Atkins has done a great job in Georgia through the years. He's got a lot of connections there. They have other coaches on the staff who do as well. Those guys definitely seem strongly interested. I don't know whether I'd say that they're definitely committing or not. But like you said, they also have a couple kids out of Maryland. And that's an area where Florida State traditionally has done well. They've got D.D. Holmes in Washington, D.C., that D.C., Maryland area. And then also the receiver, Elijah Moore, said to be strongly considering Ohio State. He now says Florida State's his leader. And, Odell's always done a great job up in that part of the country. And Florida State's had a lot of success in that D.C. When Jimbo was here, and even before that, they had a lot of success in that D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. And, so I think it was a successful weekend overall. I just don't know for sure which ones are those guys.
Well, damn it, man, you can't do that. I need you to come on here and tell me D.D. Holmes is good to go. Well, and for those that don't know, to Ira's point, the DC kid, I bring him up a lot because he's a prototype. When you look at him, he's 6'6", 250. I mean, that's yes, man, that plays at defensive end. I like that, and it's odd to me that and he's a smart kid. He's interesting to listen to talk, but it's odd to me that he's, Rutgers is high on his list. Now, maybe that's, again, that he's kind of, maybe kind of unique because it's us in South Carolina, maybe Penn State, but it's Rutgers is next on that list. We got to be able to out-recruit Rutgers, damn it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think South Carolina is probably the bigger concern.
Right.
And, but look, man, I think that they're probably in good shape there. And I think, when you look at the physical sizes of those guys, and that's, I think it's just a good point. Looking at him, and Jonathan Daniels is another guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of the recruiting sites out there had him listed at 6'2" or 6'3", and there's kind of evaluations all over the map for him. Some sites have him as a 3-star on 3, which we're affiliated with, has him as a 5-star. Looking at him next to Luke Kromenhoek in that picture made me much more interested in Jonathan Daniels. I mean, he dwarfs Luke Kromenhoek, and Luke Kromenhoek's 6'3", 6'4". He's not a small. He made him look like a middle schooler. So he's got to be 6'5" and really got a great frame. So, yeah, man, they bring in the right kind of body types for sure.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, you're recruiting against Miami, Georgia, and Kentucky for him. And, that's a nice list. And it does seem likely that Florida State will get him. Your mind reader, Ira, I pulled that up because I know that On3 has him as a 5-star. One of the other networks has him as a 3-star, as you said. It is a weird mix of evaluations for him. I've seen, when I pulled him up over the last 24 hours, 6'4.5", and I've seen 6'2". That's crazy. How could you be 2.5 inches off? Well, I mean, that's strange.
Yeah, and when you see the picture, it's obvious that he's 6'4.5" or 6'5". Because again, Luke Kromenhoek's not a small guy, and he's towering over him. I think he's a guy that's kind of gotten a little bit late on the national radar. Florida State was kind of in on him early, and and I think some of the evaluations from On3's perspective is probably projecting, looking at his frame, looking at what he's done so far, and seeing what he's going to be. Whereas maybe other outlets are kind of focusing on what he's done so far. So, but man, again, physically, and then just just sharp kid, very smart kid. Alex Atkins has a great relationship with him. I think there's a chance he could end up being a huge one if Florida State gets him.
Ira, we got asked earlier in the show. I don't know the answer, and if you do, I don't know if you're free to say it, but why didn't Jordan pass at the Manning Academy?
He had a dental issue.
Okay.
Last week. And so he wasn't feeling good. In fact, I'll give him credit for talking to Aslan. He talked to Aslan for about 10 minutes.
Yeah,
you could notice he was kind of favoring his one side of his mouth a little bit. Yeah, I think he was having a little bit of a dental issue, and just life happens. But that wasn't the focus of that event anyway. I think the biggest thing is getting a chance to be around the other, the Mannings. Obviously, he got to listen to them talk and their presentation, and then also be around some of the other guys, and then sign autographs and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So,
yeah, it would have been nice if he could have thrown. I think he was going to, but yeah, he had a dental issue.
Well, that actually will quell fears. I had heard rumors. I didn't know anything about it, but I knew that two or three people asked about it. So I thought, well, maybe we can find out something to allay fears that it's not an arm issue. It's not a leg issue. His teeth hurt. Damn it. Everybody's had that happen. I actually just thought it was cool that he got to go do that. And it reflected yet again just how far he's come. I mean, from a kid who's buried on the depth chart, who doesn't look like a real quarterback, to a kid who's now a Heisman candidate, going to get drafted and is the unquestioned leader of Florida State football team. That's just a cool story that we've been able to cover.
Yeah, it really is, man. And even, and again, I know she's not everybody's favorite, but Heather Dinich, I guess she did last night, she last week, that she could see Jordan Travis as the Heisman Trophy winner. And again, I think, preseason, summer expectations don't mean a whole lot, especially once the year starts. But like you said, it's cool. I mean, this is
cool.
Corey wrote about it over the weekend. That 2 or 3 years ago, Jordan Travis was languishing on the bench behind Alex Hornibrook and James Blackman, and it wasn't like he was just a true freshman. He'd been in college a couple of years, and so it's really it's one of the all-time great stories of a quarterback who kind of became something that nobody really would have expected.
It is the greatest transformation at that position that I've ever seen any individual make. He is by far the person who's come the furthest in their ability to do all the things we ask of quarterbacks. I've never seen anybody come as far as he has. It's really quite amazing to see that turnaround. Ira, appreciate it. I'll be watching tonight, brother. Be good.
Thanks, Jeff. See you, man.
Yep, take care. Ira Schafel, Tom Lang, tonight, the Monday Smash, 7 o'clock.
I'm going to ask him who he would send as his third Florida State Seminole to Charlotte. See what he says.
His third?
To the kickoff.
Yeah. Fitzgerald.
I think your answer about Fabian is the one that holds the most water. Even though he's a transfer a million years ago.
Yeah, he's been here for a long time.
Here. He came back for an extra season. It is 2 defensive linemen that you're sending, though. That would be interesting. A lot of times, teams want to send their skill position guys.
I would go, if I were selecting, Jordan Travis, Jared Verse,
linebacker Brian Courtney.
You could use that platform to make the announcement that Courtney, rightfully, as predicted by the wildly popular host of the Jeff Cameron Show, is moving to linebacker.
He's got a suit and tie and a neck roll underneath the shirt.
I don't know. See, I want to say, like, Johnny Wilson has become kind of a star, but
you'd said Keon Coleman is who
I
you'd
think
send.
I probably would. The Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Police Department announced Friday afternoon that a person has been arrested in relation to a shooting at a McDonald's on West Pensacola Street. The Tallahassee Police Department said that a juvenile was arrested and being charged with possession of a firearm by a delinquent and tampering with physical evidence. A group of individuals were involved in a verbal dispute on the basketball courts adjacent to the Palmer Monroe Teen Center. An off-duty officer working at the center saw the group and attempted to make contact, but the group dispersed in vehicles before he engaged them. The group then went to the McDonald's where 2 men continued arguing in the parking lot. Tompkins then turned towards another involved juvenile male, and in fear for his life, the juvenile shot Tompkins, who died of injuries sustained. The juvenile fled the scene in a vehicle and was detained by law enforcement. The case is being considered a stand your ground case. This is Rachel Lenny with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Scattered thunderstorms likely this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. High temperatures reach up to 92. Southwest winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight. Scattered thunderstorms likely. Lows level off around 75. Chance for scattered thunderstorms tomorrow. High of 95. A mix of clouds and sun. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 90.
Clean, renewable energy means fresher air, healthier residents, new green jobs, and a stronger, more resilient community. How we get there is up to you. Share your input today to help shape the Tallahassee of tomorrow. Take the Clean Energy Survey at talgov.com.
Want a Zaxby's Big Zax snack meal for free? With free fingers, free fries, free Zax sauce, even free Texas toast? All you have to do is download the Zaxby's app. Did you download it yet? Woo, saucy! Zaxby's.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, you know, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to steer clear of bears is what you're saying.
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow little burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay.
You know?
Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
a wide receiver, Ryan Williams, 5-star kid going to Alabama, about Nick Saban. Saban told me he'll coach until he croaks. Come on, man. It's never going to end. It's never going to end. I knew it, though. I knew when a couple years ago, was that the 60 Minutes or the 2020, whatever it was, feature on him when they're out at the lake? And he was talking about, well, they had just won another national championship, and the person, whoever did that, asked him the question about, when's enough? How many do you have to win? How many championships? He's like, oh, no, it's never been about that. You're like, okay. He really is addicted to working.
I think that's it.
He really is addicted to working. And listen, again, if you're a university and you hire a guy that, you hope leads your program to national championships and puts you consistently in the mix, it's nice to know that you're paying a man rather handsomely who will never be outworked and is actually addicted not to winning, but working. It's a good deal.
Not even addicted to helping young men.
No,
it's just a working.
It's just a working. It's like, listen, along the way, those young men will be helped by my great work ethic. They will get to see what it means to really work. You're nuts. You're nuts. But, I mean, obviously you're the best.
Hey, man, he's lost 4 games last 2 years. Take that.
Which seems like a tragedy. Like, that's insane, the thought of it, right?
And he went to one of his favorite places. We recall this, the year that we won the national title. He was out at the Sugar Bowl this year for a game that did not mean anything.
Did not mean a thing.
That's right. His favorite thing to do, go to the Sugar Bowl.
Remember how mad he was when Utah beat him that year?
It was the fans' fault.
Yeah, he blamed the fans for taking for granted their successes and not showing up at that game since it didn't really matter all that much. Fans let him down, and they fell short. This is what can happen when you slip.
All right, our players didn't get beat today by the other players. They got beat by you, the fans. You sorry pieces of garbage.
Oh, man. Yeah. No, but I think he's truthful when he talks about being addicted to the grind and wanting to work. You know where he gets it right and where it appears yet again Jimbo
everywhere.
Well, no, it appears yet again where Jimbo's going to get it wrong is that there has to be, okay, so there doesn't have to be a balance in your life. Clearly there's not. It doesn't have to be that, you're well balanced in all your relationships, whatever. You just can't lose the locker room. Like, whatever you do has to be consistent with the way that the program operates to the point where everybody understands that you believe it because you do it on a daily basis. If you don't, and you preach it to that degree of intensity, and there is that much expected of each individual within the organization on a daily basis, something that could grow very tiring if you didn't lead by example, then the whole thing falls to pieces. And that's what's happened with Jimbo here. It's what's going to happen at Texas A&M. You get the sense they're on the cusp of a disastrous year. And, oh, by the way, I'm not going to pile on here. That's a tragic story. They lose their defensive line coach, Terry Price. He died over the weekend. He was just 55 years old. That's awful. It's not, I'm not trying to add to the woes, but Texas A&M's got a lot of problems, and this feels dysfunctional from what you read. It clearly, the same thing's happening there that happened here, only he didn't have the same success.
No, and just from a football standpoint, that's his ace recruiter, one of his ace recruiters. So that's, beyond the obvious tragedy that they're feeling there right now, that's not ideal from a football standpoint.
So on a personal level, that's devastating. On a football level, that's awful. Yeah, like you said, he's considered to be an elite recruiter. So I don't know. Again, we separate these things, but things weren't moving in the right direction to begin with, and they just have a tragedy thrown into it. It can't, certainly not going to help.
So is Alabama, though, back to Nick quickly, are they going to fix their defense?
I'm telling you, well, yes, they'll do it by having better recruiting and, better players, I should say, because they do out-recruit everybody just about. I would think that'll get remedied as much as it can be remedied. I also just think that again, we've seen the measure of a defense greatly skewed by the stupid rules in college football that allow offensive linemen to go downfield on pass plays. And you cannot play elite defense when offenses are allowed to cheat. And offenses are allowed to cheat.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just saying that Bryce Young single-handedly put him in a position that they only lost 2 games last year. And
That's
if it's not for Bryce Young singularly, maybe Caleb Williams could have done the same. Maybe. I'm not sure. They could have lost 4 or 5.
Yeah, they couldn't get stops. Yeah, no, they struggled last year. My guess is they have a loaded roster again this year. Whatever adjustments they need to make, they'll make, and they'll probably be really good. It is all relative, though, again, about the defense. I mean, we don't see the defenses of yesteryear, like those dominant Florida State defenses that we all admire, Derek Brooks, Marvin Jones, those guys, Raynard Wilson, and Andre Wadsworth, and just year after year of bludgeoning offensive players. It just doesn't exist anymore in the game. That superhuman team that Georgia had, which is, again, a couple years ago, maybe the greatest defense to ever line up. It takes having every starter to be hungry, angry, and first round talent for that to translate into a season where you could call it dominant. Most of the time, if you're missing any one thing, it gets exploited anymore with the rules, like I talk about, and how offenses kind of just rule the sport. We see it all the time. You're not going to see that 2002 Bucks defense or the Ravens defense. Obviously, the 86 Bears, like those teams, like you're not going to see that anymore. The game is just skewed so offensive.
No, the closest thing you could see from any of those teams would be the 02 Bucks defense because it was built more on speed, and that's what it has to be about.
Well, that's why
Speed
everybody.
and coverage.
That's why linebacker is kind of dissolved into a place of not obscurity, but it doesn't matter nearly as much as it once did. First of all, we don't see 3 linebackers on the field all that often anymore. It's kind of standard to see a 4-2-5, and nowadays you're talking about. People talking about having 7 defensive backs in the game at any one time. It's crazy what we have 3-1-7 or something.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing with you got basically like rovers almost at linebacker. You might have one thumper, one interior guy that you need to handle first and second down. But I mean, even this season, I think that's the football is in a place now where it's good for Florida State that you don't need more than a couple linebackers at given.
Yeah, because we don't have them.
We could play with one on the field if we needed to this year.
Yeah,
we could. That's where I wish one particular player that went to Colorado did not leave here because I thought it was a good fit for coverage in the modern game. But maybe Blake Nicholson, another guy we're excited to watch in camp.
It's just hard to ask a true freshman in a year where you have aspirations of winning a title or winning a conference title, whatever you want to set that at. Expect him to play a lot.
But those young guys could be specialists.
Yeah.
If it's a cover specialist and it's third and whatever, you could take Bethune off the field in that situation and say, all right, we're going to need you big shooter.
Yeah.
Here's, 6 third down situations that you don't have to be on the field. Those 6 plays could add up and put you in a better shot.
And he said he likes to cover. That's a strength of his game.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to thank our friends at Power Mill Training Academy, equipping young athletes who are focused on baseball and softball with specific tools to reach their true potential. Got camps going on right now throughout the summer. Go find out about those, whether it's softball or baseball. Obviously, they're going to train your youngins to play the game a little bit more proficiently and have more fun doing it as they have the tools to have fun this season, the upcoming baseball or softball season. So that's powermillsports.com. If you would, probables time.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Reds, Orioles, Brandon Williamson, Cole Irvin, Brewers, Mets, Colin Ray, Justin Verlander. Twins, Braves, Sonny Gray, Spencer Strider, Tigers, Rangers, Matthew Boyd, Andrew Haney. By the way, the Braves-Reds series this past weekend was phenomenal. White Sox, Angels, Dylan Cease, Reed Detmers, Nationals, Mariners, Trevor Williams, Luis Castillo. And that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Watched a lot of baseball over the weekend. My Pirates had a wonderful series with the Marlins in which we lost 3 of 4 despite, I think, team ERA was something under 2. Fun losing games like that. I don't like losing 2-0, 2-1, 1-0.
Arias hit a home run, the outlier of outliers.
Yeah. We tied it in the ninth, lost in extra innings because we don't score. We can't. It's just so frustrating. It's okay. I'll be watching tonight's national championship contest, 7 o'clock ESPN. And you guys will be on my computer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
On the computer.
I watch the Smash. Put the Smash on my laptop. I watch the baseball in the background, LSU, Florida, and then that's about it.
I thought you were talking about the Mets initially. I'm thinking, why?
Oh, no. I saw you guys give away a game yesterday. That was hilarious.
You know me. I'm a Walter Sobchak, calmer than you are, usually with baseball.
Watching that 8th inning.
I'm a very calm guy. It's time. He can be fired now. It's okay. We can do it.
He was trying to rest your better arms. He needed to rest them. These guys should surely be able to get you out of it.
Yes, you've got your primary setup man who's not very good. But anyway, your primary setup man saying he was available, even though the manager said he wasn't. And he wanted to save our closer for the 9th inning. What do you want me to do? I needed him for the 9th.
But I will tell you, you got a tailor-made double play ball that was butchered too. So
we don't sit anybody when they screw up either. So he can go. It's time.
Good work out of you. Good work, Director Matthew. Thanks for being with us, everybody. Don't forget to smash tonight. Warchant TV, 7 o'clock. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow on Seminole Headlines. Peace.